All right, this is the video key for the Solving and Graphing Linear Equations review. In this review, this video key, we're going to be going through each of the problems. So if you have a question on one of the problems in particular, feel free to skip forward to that problem. A couple quick things for review. Slope-intercept form, we want to determine the slope and y-intercept, plot the y-intercept, use the slope to find another point, and then draw the line using a straight edge. In point slope, we have to first identify the point and the slope, plot the point, use the slope to find the other point, and then draw the line using the straight edge. In standard form, we have to determine the x and y intercepts by plugging in x equals 0 for our y-intercept and y equals 0 for our x-intercept. Plot the intercepts on your graph and connect the dots using a straight edge. If one of the intercepts is not an integer, then you can rewrite it into slope-intercept form and then use the steps in slope-intercept form. So let's graph this first one, y equals 1/2 x minus 7. I'm looking at this and I notice it's in y equals mx plus b or slope-intercept form, where my slope is the number in front of x, 1/2, and my y-intercept is -7. So that tells me we first plot our y-intercept at 0, -7, and we use our slope to find our other point. Rise over run, we go up 1, right 2. You can plot a few points there. Use your straight edge to draw the line. Next up, y plus 5 equals 3 times the quantity x minus 4. This is in point slope form. So we have the point x1, y1 is 4, -5. Now be careful with those signs here. Remember the general form for point slope is x minus x1, so x1 is 4, and y minus y1, so y1 is -5. Subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive. So be careful with the signs there. The slope is the number in front of our quantity here. So our slope is 3. So I'm going to plot the points 4, -5. So 4, -5, right 4, down 5. It's right here. And our slope is 3. So 3 is the same as 3 over 1. So we can count up 3 and right 1 to find our other points. Connect the dots and you got a line. Next up, 2x minus 6y equals 24. This is in standard form. We need to find intercepts. So let's start with the x-intercept. That is where y equals 0. So we have 2x minus 6 times 0 equals 24. This y term, this second term, cancels out, zeroes out. So we have 2x equals 24 or x equals 12. For our y-intercept, that's where x equals 0. So we plug in 0 for x. 2 times 0 minus 6y equals 24. That first term in this case cancels out, zeroes out. So you have -6y equals 24, or y equals -4. So our intercepts, we have an x-intercept of 12. That's at 12, 0. That's off the grid here. And we have a y-intercept of -4 that has coordinates 0, -4. Connect the dots and you got a line. Next up, we have y equals 4x plus 10. This is in slope-intercept form. So our slope is the number in front of x, 4. And our y-intercept is 10, that constant term tacked on at the end. So the y-intercept as an ordered pair is 0, 10. We plot that first. And then we plot our slope. So our slope is +4, or 4 over 1. So we can count up 4 and over 1, but since we don't have any grid lines up here, we can also do the same. 4 over 1 is the same as -4 over -1. So where these negatives would cancel and they'd both be positive, we can choose the same over here. So we can say down 4 and left 1 to find our slope. So down 4, left 1. Plot a couple points. Use your straight edge and connect the dots. Go ahead and flip the page. Number 5, I'm looking at this, and I see that it is in point-slope form, where our point, x1, comma y1, is -7, -1, and our slope is 5/2. So to graph point slope, we plot the points, -7, -1, left 7, down 1 from the origin. And then our slope, 5/2, we go up 5 and right 2. So I'm going to count from my point, up 5 and right 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and right 2. Use your straight edge to connect the dots and draw on your line. Next up, we have 5y equals 8x minus 25. Now, this is not yet in any form here. It's not slope-intercept, it's not standard, it's not point-slope. But let's put it in one of the forms. I notice we've got our y term by itself, so this would be pretty easy to put into slope-intercept form. Let's solve for y. Dividing both sides by 5, we get y equals 8/5 x. And then 25 divided by 5 is 5. So 8/5 x minus 5. Now it's in slope-intercept form. We can graph the line. Our slope is 8/5. And our y-intercept is -5. So we plot our y-intercept that has coordinates 0, -5. And then we use our slope to find our second point. Count up 8 and right 5. Up 8 and right 5 is right about here. So let's go ahead and use our straight edge to draw in the line. Don't forget those arrowheads. There we go. All right, next up, we've got 4y equals 8. Again, this isn't in any form, but let's get y by itself. I'm going to divide both sides by 4, and we get y equals 2. Y equals 2, or y equals a number, this is a horizontal line. So I'm going to draw on the horizontal line, y equals 2. So we're going to count up 2 on our y-axis and draw on the horizontal line there. Next up, 3x plus 5y equals -30. This is in standard form, so we got to find our intercepts. Our x-intercept is where y equals 0. So plug in 0 for y, 3x plus 5 times 0 equals -30. That second term cancels out, 3x equals -30, so then x must equal -10. Our y-intercept is where x equals 0, so plug in 0 for x, 3 times 0, plus 5y equals -30. That first term cancels out, so we have 5y equals -30, or y equals -6. So our x-intercept is at -10, 0. So that is right there. And our y-intercept is 0, -6. So that is down here. We got 2 points. Let's connect them to make a line. Okay, so that is graphing linear equations. Next up, we also want to solve these linear equations. These are, in particular, literal equations where we have many variables and we're solving for one of them. So here I want to solve this equation for x. That means get x by itself. So first we have to subtract 9 from both sides. And we get -x equals 2y minus 9. Those are not like terms, so we cannot combine them. Then we have -x. We don't quite have x, so we're going to divide both sides by -1. And we get x equals 2y divided by -1 is -2y. And -9 divided by -1 is +9. So our solution, our formula, is x equals -2y plus 9. Next up here, I want to solve for y, so get y by itself. First thing I got to do is move that 4x over to the other side by subtracting 4x. So we have negative 7y equals 56 minus 4x. And then we divide both sides by negative 7. Don't forget to divide the entire side by negative 7. So 56 divided by negative 7 is negative 8. Negative 4 divided by negative 7 is a positive 4/7. And you could rewrite this, y equals 4/7 x minus 8. That would be fine too. All right, two more. Here we have y minus 3 equals 1/2 times the quantity x plus 4, and we're solving for x. First thing we got to do, we got to get rid of this 1/2 out in front. So we can either divide by 1/2 or just multiply by 2. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. And we have on the right-hand side, these cancel. So we have x plus 4. On the left-hand side, remember we want to multiply the entire left-hand side by 2. So we have 2y minus 6 equals x plus 4. One more step, we subtract the 4 from both sides, and we get x equals 2y minus 10. Last but not least, we've got x equals 3y minus 18, solving for y. So we're going to first add 18 to both sides. We have x plus 18 equals 3y. And divide both sides by 3. We get y equals x over 3, or 1/3 x, plus 6. All right. So this was the solving and graphing linear equations review.